Hello everyone. So starting today, I'm going to be trying a new form of videos instead of just constantly streaming. And also because I've had requests to share some of my deck profiles or some of my deck lists. So I'm going to be showing off here my Megacolony deck list for the upcoming BCS format. I suppose it has already started, but here in Australia, the first BCS we've got is in like 5 weeks or something. So this is the deck I'm going to be, one of the two decks actually I'm going to be testing out. I might do a deck profile for the other one that I'm thinking of using, but this is the one I'm more confident with. So it is Mega Colony. Uh, a lot of it is pretty simple, but we will go over it. So V Gridora, I personally prefer this one over the OG Gridora because it actually lets you do so. Darkface is the main one you want to be riding into, obviously because of Jaggy Devil. You can stride cheat. Also because it then puts your GB2 online uh, for, where is it? This guy. Is it that one? Sorry, no. Yeah. So Jaggy Devil will put the GB2 online. So you go first, you stride Jaggy Devil, you get your 2 protects, and then end of turn it returns to G zone, and you've already got 2 face up, so you can start controlling what your opponent does before they even get to turn 3. But yeah, as the like a backup, we are running V Gridora, just because I think that's ever so slightly better than original Gridora. Like it does give you the protect, and it does at least do something without having to stride. But I think they're very interchangeable. But in my opinion, V Gridora is ever so slightly better. We've got 2 Hell Demise. I know a lot of people only play one of them, but in my testing and experience, if one goes to damage, you're just out of luck. And also having 2 helps loop them. Um, so the and yeah, we've got Dark Face. You never use the on stride ability. It's just you need the naming and GB2. The grade 2 lineup is the most interchangeable of the entire deck. So I feel like the only things you need to be running is Sticky Bolus, because she searches your Darkface names. So she can get two differently named Darkfaces from the top 7. So either Darkface or Darkface Gridora. Um, Stamping Red is fine. So a lot of people would be running the newer promo that can have 16 of it in the deck. I was thinking of running it, but in the grade 2 lineup in Megacolony, I prefer the utility, and that it doesn't provide as much utility as other cards in the deck. There is a grade 2 in the upcoming, oh gosh, is it DZ04? I think it is. That it's a 10k grade 2 that says something like when your opponent intercepts, their auto abilities don't activate or something, and when their things are placed on Guardian Circle, their auto abilities don't activate. I will be testing that out when it comes out in place of Stamping Red. But Stamping Red also is like a good a good turn 2 ride target, because you can counterblast 1, just draw a card, because most people in Premium don't call a rear guard. Um, and then we've got this guy, the I don't know what we actually call this cycle or whatever we're calling it. The grade 1 fixer, I suppose. Uh, you basically never call it. It's just here because the grade 1s in Megacolony are so insanely important. So yeah, you discard it and get the grade 1. Um, here's probably where I'm going to be spending most of the time. So burrow mushrooms, I do want to put this to 4, but I don't know where I would take the extra space from. You could take Heldemise to 1, but that does conflict with a lot of my beliefs of running 2. But you run this because on turn 1 or 2, you can play this down, put it to Soul, and you get a 10k column for free, basically, which is very, very good. And it also then fuels Darkface's GB2, so you will then have 4 cards in Soul, allowing you to use GB2 twice, uh, which is a big problem with the deck. Don't you can't Soul charge a lot, and in combination with Darkface Gridora Guilty Empress, who Soul Blasts to call something out of deck, you are quite Soul hungry. So this guy is actually very, very, very useful. Another card that unfortunately uses Soul, but is not that backbreaking, is the V Brilliant Blister. So it's mainly here because it can bounce itself at end of battle, so you don't have to commit anything to the board. But also, when this unit is put on Guardian Circle, if your opponent's Vanguard is rest, Soul Blast 1, discard a card from hand, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, rested, and it cannot stand until end of turn, which is very, very, very good against Axel decks, because Axel decks kind of just auto beat you. Well, I shouldn't say auto beat you, because there are some Axel decks that you kind of auto beat because you are the gatekeeper deck of the format, like Pale Moon. But Axel, you just don't have a good game against most of them. Also, it's just good in general. We also are running one. Oh wow, they really don't want to have a good version of this picture. One of the original Brilliant Blister. It is searchable by this guy, so you don't have to really worry about not finding it. But it's also only really there for like the Kagero matchups, because they all are like some form of Overlord restanding, like there for the restanding Vanguards. And if you can resolve it once, it's backbreaking enough that it will probably be fine. This guy is maybe the most important grade 1 in the entire deck. So deck and soul regarded as 3. So we can get it off Guilty Empress. But just the being able to put back Heldemise. So the cost is to put back something from a normal unit from drop to deck. So we can cycle. So this is one of the reasons a lot of people play one Heldemise. And then you can countercharge. And then something can't intercept, but that is pretty much not non-irrelevant. That is irrelevant. And the deck is very resource hungry. You will always be using a counterblast every turn for Guilty Empress. You want to be holding your souls for Darkface and Guilty Empress for the attack to get 5 attacks. So very, very good. Starters, there's not a whole lot you can run. It's like the V starter, and then like I don't know, you can't. There's not really any G starters that you can justify running. There we've got 4 of the, what are these called? The Heal Guardians. I am thinking about cutting one for the heal effect trigger that cares about when you G guard. Again, just because you are so resource hungry. So I might try that out and come back with my results. We are running Blessed Favor just because it's the most generically good. Like you can run the dark one, you can run the light, you can honestly run any of them and you'd be pretty okay. This is just the most generically good one. And also because I have it in the SP, which is just extra bonus nice stuff. You got the stride crits, the updated ones that just draw you card if they're damage checked, 3 PGs, and Sanctitude. That rounds out the main deck. Onto the G zone. This is where I see a lot of discrepancies in ratios. So obviously we're running for Guilty Empress, which is borderline non what's the term, like borderline, you just can't dispute it. There's no reason to not run 4. You will see some people running 3, but there's no reason to not run it because you will always be going into it. And to combo with it, we've got the Malignant Mantis. Only 2 of them. I see some people do cut the 4th Guilty Empress for the 3rd Malignant Mantis, but that is so insanely overkill, and you will not have the resources to use 3 Malignant Mantis. You will rarely have resources to use 2 Malignant Mantis, but it is nice if it comes up because it will. I've had games where I'm negging my opponent's Vanguard 20k, and it does come up, but yeah. We'll go through the rest of the strides. We got 2 overwhelms. So I've thought about cutting 1 overwhelm for the GB8, but it's not impactful enough for being GB8. So for people that don't know, at GB8, he gives all your units plus 5,000 power for each of your opponent's rest units, which is, it is good, but compared to the rest of the GB8s, it's just not worth what you have to do. And Overwhelm can be good if your opponent just refuses to call a board and you know that they can play the game without being, while playing under Guilty Empress. The 2 Jaggy Devils, as I said, the 1 Messiah because we're playing premium and we have to be playing Messiah. Obturandus because it can just shut an opponent out of the game if it comes to that. We've got, we'll come back to that one actually. We've got 1 Relish Lady just because it is resource management. So people will most of the time, unless they know exactly what your deck is doing, and they just don't care about getting having the 2 units, they will just give you the resources, which is so insanely thankful. So I am running Morphision. I know a lot of people don't play this, and they play more copies of this, but this is a free, will almost always give you 10k. And in a deck that is very resource hungry, you're just glad to have this. So it gives you 10k if your opponent has 2 or less stood rear guards. And I'm only playing 1 crew rebel, Crubble. I don't think I've ever actually said the name before. So he soul blasts to get power. I only play 1 of it again because there's not a lot of ways to soul charge outside of burrow mushrooms. It does come up, and it is really good when it does because of how much power it can gain. But for the most part, it doesn't. You will just mainly be going into this guy or Relish Lady. You could play oh, what's it called? I can't think of what it's called because it's in my other decks. The G Guardian that gives your guy resist, but like you don't particularly care about your 2s, and if they run in and kill your Hell Demise, then you are more than okay with that because you can just cycle it back with High Class Moth. But that is the deck, as you can see. 13 zeros, 12 ones, 12 twos, 13 threes. And that is just skewed because of this here. Here's the deck code if you would like to view it at some other time. 69ZB8. And yeah, that is the deck. Thank you, everyone. This is something I would like to try in a video format I would like to be trying to do more in the future. instead of just constantly streaming, because streaming is like an hour and a half or something, at least an hour and a half of my day that I have to commit, and